Okay, the live stream is active. You can start the meeting.
Okay, we're going to call the Mangum City Hospital Authority meeting for December 2nd, 2020 to order. Billy, if you would, please call the roll. Billy, I think you're on mute.
Let's try now.
There we go.
Camera. Let's see. No, it still won't work. Okay. Lively.
Here.
High school.
Here.
Zachary.
Here. We do have a quorum. Consent agenda. There are a couple items, items 5 and 6. I don't feel comfortable with approving these two items with the information. If either of you would like to discuss those further, I would consider removing items 5 and 6 before we approve the consent agenda, but that's up for discussion with you guys.
I think you need a motion to remove those from the consent agenda and then discuss them after.
I didn't know if anybody had anything to discuss on that. So do you have consider motion to remove 5 and 6 from the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we remove items 5 and 6 from the consent agenda.
Motion, do we have a second? Okay. Any other discussion regarding items 5 and 6?
I can't hardly hear
Hang
Elsa.
on. You guys got to just go ahead and approve or disapprove the consent agenda. Now that 5 and 6 are off of it, you're approving only those items that are left. So if we can do that first, then we can discuss 5 and 6.
Okay. Consider motion.
Ilka, I need you to unmute your microphone. There you go.
Yep. Okay, consider a motion to approve items 1 through 4 and 7 and 8. As
All right.
presented. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
I'm sorry, I thought you made the motion.
I'll second it.
It's cutting in and out. Sorry, guys. So we have a motion and second. Call for the vote, please.
Zachary.
Yes.
High school.
Yes.
Lively.
Yes.
Any further discussions over those removed?
So basically you either need to table, you need to take no action, or you need to vote on those two items. Zach, you and I have discussed it. I have not discussed this with the rest of the board members on purpose. My take is and I'm assuming somebody from Cohesive may have a counter to discuss this, but I can't for the life of me believe that the intent of the CFR is for non-medical board members to approve medical procedures and policies. And I've discussed that with the Oklahoma Health Associate or the Oklahoma Hospital Association, their legal team. They're the ones that kind of led me down this path of absolutely do not let them sign this or approve this. But I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a legal advisor. I'm here to protect you, the board members, from making some kind of error. And if it should come out that this board is required to sign off on those, I would seek legal advice on that. I've sought it and I've got it, but I would think that you all three would need to seek that legal advice before you approve those. That's my opinion. I'm just trying to, again, I'm trying to protect you. That's all.
If I may, having looked over, not necessarily read every word, I'm not sure I'm comfortable signing off on something that has to do with medical procedures, etc., since we're not, in the medical field. We have no licenses, what have you, and having sought out legal advice that, as I'm understanding, would go against us approving it. So do we just put it aside? Could we have Cohesive put in, why they're needing us to do, if that's not a standard area that generally trustees would approve?
I would open the floor now to Cohesive. If anybody from Cohesive has an argument for this, I'd encourage you to step up and speak up. This is an open discussion, and I'm not telling you what to do. That's for certain, but
Well,
I've done my due diligence.
where is our excellent legal mind? Corey, could we have your input?
Corey cannot meet here today.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. I'm not comfortable then to approve. Are you guys?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because, none of us have medical licenses to approve any kind of procedural thing and such. So I'd feel more comfortable if Corey was also present, and you having talked and Dave having talked with OHA, Oklahoma Hospitals or Associations legal mind makes me also not wanting to approve it at this point.
If I may then, I would make a recommendation not to strike it, but to table it. That way we can come back to this at the next meeting. Once we've got some time for our legal team to get with Cohesive's legal team, and we can hash this out. I think that's the best way forward. It protects you, it protects the city as a whole, and it definitely doesn't stop this from happening. It just we're pressing it on to the next.
Okay. Consider a motion then to table items 5 and 6 from the consent agenda.
I will make that motion to table item 5 and 6.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
High School,
Yes.
Lively,
Yes.
Zachary,
Yes. Item 9, discussion and possible action to approve contract between Mangum City Hospital Authority, DBA, Mangum Regional Medical Center, and Velocity EHS.
All right, Zach, this is Marie. Good evening, everyone. This is also known as MSDS Online. It allows our facility to stay up to date with all materials regarding safety data sheets. It's an online program that also allows us to automatically update our current data, our safety data sheets, and it also notifies us and notifies the safety officer of any changes in our online SDS binder. We currently have it, and so this is a annual renewal.
Okay.
I did, in fact, get them to change the contract. It was a 5-year contract, but I have kept with our compliance of annual renewals, so it's a 1-year annual renewal.
Anything else changed in the contract, Marie?
No.
I'm not getting my vote.
Knowing that every facility has to have their MSDS records in shape, I'll make the motion to approve that contract.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Billy, I muted you.
Zachary,
Yes.
high school,
Yes.
Lively,
Yes.
Okay, item 10, discussion and possible action to approve contract between Mangum City Hospital Authority, DBA Mangum Regional Medical Center, and MedX Group, Inc.
That is a tricky one.
Daniel.
This is
Sorry,
Daniel.
Daniel.
I'll be glad to help on this one. This is a consignment agreement between MyMedics Group and the hospital. MyMedics is a company that offers skin grafts, which we have found based on evidence-based studies that they've had profound improvements in wound outcomes. And our Dr. Morgan has agreed to partner with them and use their products in an effort to provide a more excellent service as far as wound care to our patients that are in the hospital and even those that come for outpatient services. This is strictly a consignment. We will store those materials until they're needed to be used. And then once they're used, then they go about the billing and bill those patients for those. So there should not be any cost to us, just another service that we can provide. And of course, an opportunity for some revenue because we will get the bill for those.
Okay.
Any questions or discussions for Daniel?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve contract for item number 10.
I'll second that.
Call for the vote, please.
Zachary,
Yes.
high school,
Yes.
Lively,
Yes.
Item 11, discussion and possible action to approve contract between Mangum City Hospital, DBA Mangum Regional Medical Center, and Para Healthcare Analytics, an HFRI company.
Hi, this is Andrea. So the para review maintenance.
Okay, I can't hear you.
Can't hear me. I have that problem a lot. Hold on.
Andrea, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're barely coming in, and I've got earphones in.
Okay. I'm going to talk really loud. Okay, so this agreement is for the PARA CDM review and maintenance and the separate price transparency tool. The price transparency tool is a compliance issue, not issue, it's a compliance agreement essentially. CMS as of 1/1/21, there is a
Hey, Andrea?
Yes,
I
sir.
can't hear you either.
I know, I'm sorry.
Andrea, this is Dennis. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, yeah, let me help out a little bit on this. PARA is a group that we have engaged for all of our facilities. I worked with them years ago as well. On January 1st, every hospital has to do what's called or implement something that's called price transparency on their website, which basically allows anybody to go in and say how much it costs to do this or how much you think it's going to cost for this procedure, etc. Now, even though we're supposed to begin on January 1st, what is more critical is that we have something that we've already in the process of implementing. So it's not like it's January 1st or you're going to be penalized a bunch, but the penalty that is being enforced on every hospital is $300 a day if it's not up and implemented. So by the time they came around to audit, and if you didn't have it all done, a corrective action plan or everything else, that's what the fine would be, which is about $110,000 a year. If you took that times $300 times 365 days. So it's something we need everybody's going to have to do. It's being forced on us. This is not something someone's recommending. It's being forced on us. And I'm not going to give you my opinion on what I think it means or the benefit, but that's a short version. What PARA has also done for a lot of ours is they've also done the charge master review. If you've ever had that done, I think 2018, they started that process at Mangum. They tried to finish up something a little bit this year, and they had an individual through CPSI and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but personally, I'm going to reach out to CPSI and see if they can refund that money, because it hasn't been very well done, and I'll leave it at that. The important thing about not only keeping your charge master up to date, because those are constantly changing by CMS, they issue new charge codes at every quarter, and then annually there's like a dumping of all different types of changes. But one important thing is compliance. Okay, so you need to be up to date all the time. Secondly, it doesn't do anyone any good to come and establish a new charge master if you can't implement it, which means physically taking that and implementing it so it's in your system and updated. The good thing about PARA, and we've done a lot of due diligence, I can assure you on this, to try to use CPSI or anybody else's that are not in compliance to begin with. And anything we update with our charge master will automatically roll into the price transparency. And so that will be updated as well. Secondly, and the cost for most of our facilities initially has been $2,000. This one, they have a monthly fee of about $13.75 that they discounted. There's also, and I'll break this down, there's a one-time implementation fee, and then there's also a recurring fee. The one time, and they spread the implementation fee over 20 months, okay? So to do the charge master, it's basically $13.75 a month. But again, they maintain that, automatically make all the changes. For the price transparency, that's about $317 a month. So you're looking at $22.75 a month. The mandatory price transparency, and that's initially, that's the first year. If you just did the price transparency, the one that's recurring, that's $750 a month. Again, that's every month. So in the initial year, it looks expensive because you're paying $9,000 over 12 months for just price transparency alone, or you're paying $27,000. So you're paying $18,000 alone. But in the outlying years, you're only paying $150 a month difference. And most of these are going to be reimbursed at least 80%. So you're talking about a net cash expense of about $30 a month. When you look at the implementation fee, which is a one-time fee, to do the price transparency alone, you're going to spend about $11,000 in that. So year one cost for that is $9,000 plus another $11,000, so it's about $20,000. If we went ahead and did the price transparency, they would discount that fee down to $5,500, and we'd have a contract loading that's still $1,250. So the one-time cost is about $6,750. I know this is a lot of detail, but the short version of having both the price transparency and doing the charge master is, for the first year, it's about $14,000 more, okay? And if you net that down, the net out-of-pocket cost at roughly about 20% is about $2,800 is what it would cost the hospital. So again, you have minimal cost on a recurring item after 1 year. It's your first year where it's about additional $14,000 net. Again, the transparency, we don't have a choice. That has to be in place. What we're really trying to determine is if we want to do the charge master as well.
Dennis, this is Marie. What I wanted to reiterate is back in June, we started reviewing CPSI and PARA and a couple of vendors that offered these services. And I sat in on these meetings, and I can tell you from my standpoint that PARA was superior to any of the other meetings as far as price transparency and continued management with the charge master. The charge master is the lifeline of our organization, and it must be maintained. And really, they offer us the very best benefit for the cost. So I personally highly recommend the PARA over CPSI moving forward. CPSI was not CMS compliant So I just wanted to provide the board members with a little bit of feedback because I was involved in the meetings and sat through all of the meetings, reviewing and demoing these different platforms.
So which one is you guys' recommendation if we did switch to Para?
I would do them both. I would do the Charge Master and the price transparency one. And your the net out-of-pocket cost, and I'm saying net of reimbursement, I'm guessing in year one, I'm estimating is about $2,800. It's it's 14,000 gross. It's probably nets about 2,800. And then every month after the first year, it's only a net of about $30 net of reimbursement costs. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. It's what I would do personally. And I think Marie obviously feels.
Do we have to initially come up with the $14,000?
It's spread over a month. They do it over 12 months. So it's a monthly fee paid over 12 months.
So can you just in conclusion give us the total for the first year? Is that the 7,000? And then after that, quote unquote, price transparency plus charge master, what would we look at? And are those fees guaranteed for the second and third year? Since what I'm hearing is it's the big expense, laying it out at first, and then the second and third year, what have you, then it's less?
Yes, great question. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to try to. All right, so let's just talk about the first year cost. Okay, the first year cost, and I'm including the implementation cost as well as the recurring fee, is $20,000 basically to do the price transparency only. So that's what we're going to have to incur regardless. And again, we're able to pay that over 12 months. If we went for the full thing of doing the price transparency plus this charge master review, all of this, the cost is $34,054. So $34,000. So in the initial year, you're going to have an outlay of an expense of about $14,000. And if I net what I'm going to get back on my cost report, I think my conservative estimate is at least to say 80%. So if I get back 80, I'm going to net owing 20. So I think my net cost of reimbursements are going to be about $2,800.
Okay, Dennis, I just wanted actual numbers, just total, the first year for both, X dollars, and then after that, how much does it drop down to?
Right, okay, so the total is $20,000 for the price transparency only first year, and then for the price transparency and the charge master is $34,000. So it's a difference in $14,000. When you get to the outlying years, okay, the difference is the price transparency is $750 a month. The price transparency for the and the CDM is $900 a month. So it's an additional $150 a month. Times 12 months is $1,800. Or if you wanted to gross them both up, you could say, well, the outlying cost for just the price transparency alone every year is $9,000. For the price transparency plus the CDM, it's $10,800.
Well, and Ilka, to put this into perspective, I had met with Curtis Keller from CPSI back in May and June, and what they were offering did not meet the CMS requirements, and their fees were $61,800 a year with a $1,500 implementation fee. So this is actually a lot cheaper and more cost effective, and it's a lot better product.
And so what I'm hearing is that there are no other option, even so that we are in a network with other hospitals with Cohesive, that the knowledge that one hospital has, we cannot share with others, that we always have to, every hospital has to sign up for each of these services, is what I'm gathering. That it's
Yes.
all the different software, all the different.
Yeah, and actually Mangum and some of the other hospitals are receiving a little bit of a benefit economically, because the first Pawhuska was the first hospital and Carnegie was the second. So it's been so successful and they've been so pleased so far that it's really gone well. And again, it's been both my experience and Marie's. So, you know, I just think that they've been an A plus. Let me give you an example. We have one facility where claims weren't getting paid, okay, at that facility, and yet we were doing a similar program at another facility, okay, and I was working with our revenue cycle team. So I immediately sent those off to PARA, and they immediately were able to identify the difference between what needed to be changed in Charge Master for the others. We sent that back to, at no cost, they sent that back to the other facility, and they were able to collect on all the things they had never collected in the past couple of years. So it's just it's not just that, it's a national group of expertise that we have for a very small minimal cost. And it's really good for a critical access hospital when you have access to those kind of resources at any time. I'd recommend them to anybody.
And what I heard you say earlier is that it pretty much pays for itself. What did you say, 80%, like that first year?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you know, the way critical access hospitals work, you know, never 100% of your costs aren't reimbursed, but there is a percentage that you can almost ballpark that's going to be reimbursed for things like this. And I would estimate 80% would we get back most on our cost report when we file our cost report. That's not a strategy to success, but that's at least one of the benefits of that. I used it in my PPS facilities, and there's no reimbursement impact, zero. So it's 100% cost that's absorbed by the hospital.
Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other discussion or questions for Dennis or Marie? Consider a motion to approve our healthcare analytics contract with Mangum Regional Medical Center as presented. And I guess we need to know, Ann, what facets do you guys want to approve? You want to do both? Which is the 34,000. Do you want to do just the one? Or do you want to do none of the above? So worst case scenario, we're talking about $2,800 and some change a month for the first year.
$30,000 of things that we hadn't paid before, so that's.
But Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 20,000 option, even if we don't go with this group, we still have to have something similar in place.
Yes, you do. Or it's correct. Or it's going to be a $300 a day fine. And that's absolutely correct. And, you know,
but don't we currently have something? Isn't this the mandate that was given as of January 1st last year, that it had to be online, that kind of transparency?
That's correct. And we've been working and doing a lot of due diligence to prepare for this day. That's why we try to use the existing vendors that we have. And Marie, like she said, we try to work with CPSI and do whatever we could to minimize this cost. So we've spent a lot of time, a few months, looking into this. And so it's not something that we just overnight made a decision and said, well, we got to do something now. This is something we've tried to spend a lot of time, a lot of due diligence in doing and researching to get us to here. We just didn't want to come.
What was our current expense with CPSI?
Andrew, do you know what that is off the top of your head? I don't.
Current monthly expense?
Yes, I think that's what he's asking.
If we don't include the note payable payments, it's about 15 grand a month.
And we can totally eliminate this group?
No,
Contract with them that we need to cancel?
No, CPSI is our EHR. So it is our electronic health record. That is what we operate.
Okay. But for the program that we're wanting to replace with CPSI, that's what we need. What are we spending for the program currently with CPSI that we're trying to replace?
Oh, we don't currently have the price transparency tool with CPSI. We looked into adding that, and that was going to cost us around $68,000 and a $1,500 fee. And they did not meet the CMS requirements. We had met with them back in May and June, and again in July, and then we met with PARA as well because we were trying to find the very best company for this price transparency. We did not have to go with CPSI. They did offer it, and we went to them first because, of course, we use the CPSI EHR, so we of course went to that one first. But they did not meet the requirements, and we found that PARA was superior, so we went with their price transparency tool over CPSI.
But now CPSI, will they not have to be legally compliant as of January like all the others? And are they not going to do a software upgrade to make them compliable with the CMS requirements? Since I would think that there are more rural hospitals using their software, so eventually they'd have to be compliant legally as well, would they not?
Yes, I asked him that question and he couldn't guarantee. So that's why we just decided to go with a different company.
But they're still going to be double. And if we don't take any action, then we're spending almost $110,000 in fines. So what's your pleasure?
I'll be happy to explain anything else if you need me to for clarification, because I know it's harder maybe for you to understand all the pieces to this. So I'll be happy to provide any clarification, as would Dennis. We have to have the price transparency. The charge master, I would highly recommend the charge master, because the CPSI charge master review, we will not ever be using their charge master review again. And like Dennis said, we will be working on getting our money back on that. That was something that was spent prior to my arrival. So I do recommend the PARA charge master review, because we've had so many issues regarding our charge master. For instance, it's going to sound hilarious, but there was cottage cheese staples and things in our charge master that shouldn't even be in the charge master. Okay, there's a lot of discrepancies, and it is enormous. There were like 7,500 lines, and for one person to clean that up, it would be impossible. And so that's why we have enlisted PARA to do this charge master review and completely clean up our charge master so that we can bill properly and communicate properly with the insurance companies.
Since Andrea might not be able to answer, but financially speaking, the expenses as we're having to be compliable, these are things that we can use on our, what is it we got back from?
Cost report?
Yes, on our cost report. Are
Yes,
those?
Yes.
80%.
Yes, and that's where I'm estimating that. I think the other piece too is, Mangum's one of the few hospitals, and again, the more I get I've had an opportunity to delve into things, and I just went through this with with Andrea on one of ours. We have one contract, I believe, with Aetna that's a percent of charges. And certainly there's where your charge master has an immediate impact on that. And it's very important to make sure that your rates are set above so you're getting more or at least as much as Medicare's paying you for those. So it's much more valuable than the cost, but I at the same time, I'm also as sensitive to what y'all are going through as well with regards to cost as well. And I'm a CPA, so I'm frugal by nature, you can imagine. But I do think the benefit financially, when it finally settles, I think the benefit for the bottom line will be materially greater than the cost incurred.
I'll make that motion then for both items, wrong paper.
Item 11.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to approve both. The charge master, the price transparency as well as the charge master module for this contract.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Call for the vote, please.
Zachary,
Yes.
high school,
Yes.
Lively,
Yes.
Okay, item 12, discussion of possible action to enter an executive session in accordance with Oklahoma Statute 25 OS 307B1 for the purpose of discussing the proposed approval of medical staff privileges, credentials between above listed providers in the Mangum Regional Medical Center. This executive session will occur in live video conference breakout room and not to the public.
Zach, we're not that is a header for our executive sessions, and it's in there inappropriately. It's actually wrong. We are going to go ahead and skip that.
We didn't have a list.
Yeah, no, it's a header, and it shouldn't have been on there. And we're working with our meetings agent to get rid of it.
he's already doing it now.
So I have a question. Since we, the board, are now in person and an audience can be there, can we get back to old and new business that we can bring that up since an audience could be present and we're no longer, on the remote meetings?
At a regular scheduled meeting, yes.
But this is a special meeting and therefore we can't.
Correct.
Even so it was posted.
Yes, and the reason is because this is a postponed meeting from a regular scheduled meeting that was supposed to happen last month.
So our next meeting that is scheduled, would that be one where we can then have old business and new business, since it will be posted regular and we already know the dates?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Good. Because I'd like to add for the next meeting, maybe some procedural things and how we could maybe take down our reports from 400 pages and having to do as policy, or should we make a committee and meet together? Because I believe we had addressed these things prior.
Procedurally,
yes.
You as a board member can add anything you want to the regular business, which means whether it's a special meeting or not, we don't need to wait, and we never have needed to wait for that. All you have to do is tell us to put it on the agenda, and Billy has to do that. So whenever we have a request from a board member to have something on the agenda, all you have to do is say, hey, I need this on the agenda, and we will make that happen. And I know we've discussed it in the past, and I'm not sure exactly why we haven't gotten it on an agenda, But if you contact us, myself or Billy, and tell us exactly what you want on an agenda, as an agenda item, we are forced by law to put it on that agenda.
What if it's not an actual agenda item?
It has
such
to be an
as
agenda item.
the order of presentation according to our agenda. For instance, trying to match my pages, 400 pages, with my agenda, I write the page number next and things of that. So an order of presentation, etc., to be discussed, do I need that on the agenda for next time to then discuss?
If you have an issue with how the agenda is presented, that doesn't need to be on the agenda at all. That's something that we can fix.
Okay.
So we just need to know exactly what you're needing, and we can work on that.
All right. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Call for the vote, please.
Zachary,
Yes.
high school,
Yes.
Lively,
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
thank
Thank
you.
you.